All right, are you ready to dive into something a little unexpected? We're taking a deep dive into the world of swimming.
You got it.
But not in the way you're probably thinking.
Definitely not.
Today, we're going to be exploring how swimming makes a splash in language tests.
Interesting.
Specifically, we're looking at the IELTS.
That's right. We're going to be looking at how a topic, something as simple as swimming, can actually reveal a lot about someone's English proficiency in the IELTS,
Yes.
which stands for the International English Language Testing System.
Right.
You might already know, but this test is really essential for non-native speakers who want to work, study, or even live in countries where English is the main language.
Exactly. And what I find so fascinating about this whole thing is that it's not just about knowing the right words.
Right.
It's about using those words effectively to communicate your thoughts and ideas.
For sure.
And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting, I think.
Yeah.
We're using swimming as a lens to explore effective communication.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that a lot.
So, think back to your own experiences in the water for a moment and ask yourself, do you actually like swimming?
That's a good question.
That's actually the first question our IELTS podcast hosts, Alex and Priya, throw at their listeners.
Cool.
They're focusing on the speaking portion of the IELTS,
Okay.
specifically part 1, where test takers have to answer everyday questions.
Got it.
So I'm curious to hear how they tackle this seemingly simple question.
Me too.
Now, Alex is an IELTS trainer, and Priya is a language coach, so they've got a good handle on what examiners are looking for.
Yeah, they do.
So let's hear what Priya's model answer sounds like.
All right, babe.
She says, yes, I absolutely love swimming.
Okay.
Find it incredibly refreshing, especially during the hot summer months. Whenever I get a chance, I go to the pool or a nearby beach with my friends. Plus, it's not just a fun activity, but also a great workout. It helps me stay fit and relieves stress.
I like it. So her answer is concise, but she manages to pack in a lot of detail. You know, I noticed she doesn't just say yes. She expands on her answer by giving personal reasons.
Yeah,
And even some specific examples.
absolutely.
And that's one of the key things that IELTS examiners are looking for. The ability to go beyond simple yes or no answers and provide more detailed and elaborate responses.
Right.
It shows a good command of the language and the ability to communicate effectively.
It's interesting because she makes it sound so natural, almost like she's just chatting with a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
I particularly liked how she mentions swimming helps her relieve stress.
Yeah.
It adds a personal touch.
So
It
just
does.
it's more relatable.
And that personal touch is actually a great strategy. Sharing those little details helps to build a connection with the listener, you know?
Absolutely.
In the context of the IELTS, it can make your answers more memorable and engaging for the examiner,
Yeah,
which can definitely work in your favor.
of course.
Now, Alex tackles the second question. Did you learn swimming when you were a child?
Okay.
And he says, yes, I did.
My parents encouraged me to learn swimming when I was about 6 years old. At first, I was quite nervous about getting into the water, but with time and practice, I became more confident. I remember my instructor being very patient and teaching me different strokes, like freestyle and breaststroke.
Yeah.
Now, I enjoy swimming a lot, and I'm really grateful that I learned it at an early age.
He also starts with a direct yes, but then he adds a personal anecdote about his childhood experience learning to swim.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see a pattern here.
What's that?
They're both using personal stories to make their answers more interesting and engaging.
You're absolutely right. These personal anecdotes aren't just making the answers more interesting, they're also subtly demonstrating a wider range of vocabulary and grammar.
Right.
For example, Alex uses past tense verbs to describe his childhood experience, and even throws in specific terms like freestyle and breaststroke.
That's true. He's showing a good command of vocabulary without making it sound forced. And by structuring his answer as a story, he's also demonstrating fluency and coherence.
Right.
I wonder how they handle the next question. How often do you go swimming?
Yeah, that seems a bit trickier to elaborate on.
Yeah, it does.
But Alex comes up with a clever response. He says, well, I try to go swimming at least once a week, especially in the summer when the weather is scorching.
Uh-huh.
However, during winter, I don't swim as often because the water is too cold, and I prefer indoor activities like working out at the gym.
That's clever.
Right.
He acknowledges the frequency, but provides context by comparing his swimming habits in different seasons.
Exactly.
He's essentially showing he can think critically and adapt his answer to the specific circumstances.
Yeah. What's impressive is how he uses this comparison to demonstrate a broader vocabulary.
Right.
He could have just said, I swim less in winter.
Right.
But instead he uses phrases like, scorching weather, and indoor activities,
Uh-huh.
this adds depth and nuance to his answer.
I agree.
Priya actually points out in the podcast that he could take it even further by adding a personal touch.
Oh, interesting.
Something like, I wish I could swim more often, but I have a hectic schedule.
That's a great point. Adding a personal wish or a challenge shows a deeper understanding of the question
Right.
and allows him to express his personal feelings.
Yeah,
It also subtly shows off his grammar skills by using a conditional sentence.
for sure.
Seems like a small addition, but it can really make a difference in demonstrating fluency and complexity.
Definitely.
I'm eager to hear how they approach the next question. Is swimming popular in your country?
Yeah, me too.
This one is particularly interesting because it moves beyond personal experiences
Yeah,
and asks for a broader perspective.
for sure.
Priya takes the lead on this one.
Okay.
She says, yes, swimming is quite popular in India, especially in coastal cities like Mumbai and Chennai, where people have easy access to beaches. Many schools also include swimming as part of their extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
However, in landlocked regions, swimming might not be as common due to a lack of proper facilities.
Right.
That being said, people still enjoy visiting water parks and pools whenever possible.
So she gives a well-rounded answer, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
She doesn't just say yes or no.
Right.
She provides specific examples.
Yes.
Contrasts coastal and landlocked regions, and even acknowledges the general trend of people enjoying water parks and pools.
I think what makes this answer effective is the structure.
Yeah.
She presents a clear overview of the situation in India,
Wow.
highlighting both the popularity of swimming and the regional differences.
Mm.
She also uses connecting words like however, and that being said, to ensure her answer flows smoothly and logically.
Yes.
It's almost like she's giving a mini presentation on swimming in India.
I like it.
It's amazing how she manages to pack so much information into a concise and engaging answer.
I know, right?
It really highlights her communication skills. So far, we've covered a few basic IELTS questions.
Right.
But I'm curious, do they also touch upon more challenging topics related to swimming?
They do. They move on to a more advanced question. Would you like to learn any other water sports?
Oh, okay.
This question is designed to assess the test taker's ability to express personal opinions, preferences, and future aspirations.
I imagine this requires a different approach compared to the previous questions.
Yeah.
It's less about facts and more about conveying personal interests and desires.
Right.
What does Priya say?
She responds with, definitely. I've always been fascinated by surfing.
Okay.
I think it requires a lot of skill and balance to ride the waves.
Mm-hmm.
I recently watched a documentary on professional surfers, and it made me want to try it even more.
Yeah.
If I ever get the chance to visit a beach with big waves, I'd love to take a few surfing lessons.
She sounds genuinely enthusiastic about surfing.
Yeah, she does.
And she doesn't just say, I like surfing. She explains why she finds it fascinating and even shares a personal anecdote about watching a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
It makes her answer more relatable and memorable.
It does.
What do you think?
I think Priya does an excellent job here because she goes beyond simply stating a preference.
Right.
By sharing her reasoning, the skill and balance required, and linking it to a personal experience watching the documentary, she demonstrates a deeper level of engagement with the question.
Yeah. It's fascinating to see how seemingly simple questions about swimming can be used to assess such a wide range of language skills.
It is.
So far, we've delved into model answers.
Right.
But do Alex and Priya offer any specific advice for those preparing for the IELTS speaking test?
Absolutely. They wrap up the episode by sharing 5 key tips to help test takers achieve a Band 7 or higher, which is considered a good score for most universities and immigration purposes.
All right, let's hear those tips. What secrets do Alex and Priya have for achieving IELTS speaking success?
So the first tip is pretty straightforward. Give full answers. It's tempting to fall back on short, simple responses, but they emphasize the importance of elaborating and providing context whenever possible.
That makes sense. So instead of just saying yes or no, we need to flesh out our answers with explanations and examples.
Exactly.
It's about demonstrating a deeper understanding of the language and the ability to express ourselves clearly.
For sure.
The second tip they highlight is using a variety of tenses.
Okay.
It's easy to get stuck in the present tense, but they encourage test takers to showcase their grammar skills by incorporating past, present, and future tenses whenever appropriate.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I can see how using a range of tenses would not only demonstrate grammatical accuracy,
Right.
but also make the answers more dynamic and engaging,
Yes,
adds a layer of sophistication to the conversation.
it does.
The third tip focuses on fluency.
Okay.
They emphasize the importance of speaking naturally
Yeah.
and avoiding memorized answers.
Right.
It's more about being able to think on your feet
Mm.
and construct sentences smoothly and coherently.
Yeah.
So it's not about reciting pre-prepared scripts, but rather demonstrating the ability to communicate spontaneously and authentically.
That's right.
I imagine that takes practice and confidence.
Absolutely. And that's where the fourth tip comes in. Using good vocabulary.
Okay.
They advise test takers to go beyond generic terms and incorporate more specific and descriptive language.
Got it.
It's about choosing words that paint a vivid picture and showcase a strong command of vocabulary.
I love that analogy of painting a picture with words.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, I like swimming, you could say, I find swimming incredibly invigorating, especially in the open ocean. It adds so much more depth and imagery to the answer.
Exactly.
And the final tip is all about time management.
Okay.
Priya reminds listeners that part 1 of the speaking test is timed,
Right?
so it's crucial to practice with a timer to get a feel for the pace
Yeah.
and ensure you can answer the questions concisely and effectively within the allotted time. That's a practical tip that often gets overlooked.
It is.
It's not just about what you say, but also how you manage your time to ensure you cover all the points you want to make.
For sure.
So we've got 5 key tips.
Yeah.
Give full answers, use a variety of tenses, speak naturally, use good vocabulary, and practice with a timer.
Hmm.
I'm noticing these tips aren't just relevant for the IELTS, they're applicable to any situation where effective communication is essential.
That's true.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you've hit the nail on the head.
Mm.
These tips are universal communication principles.
Yeah.
Think about it. Whether you're giving a presentation, interviewing for a job,
Yeah.
or simply having a conversation with friends, clear, concise, and engaging communication is key.
It's fascinating how a deep dive into a language test can unexpectedly reveal these broader communication insights.
Yeah,
It's a reminder that language is a powerful tool, and mastering it can open doors in countless ways.
for sure.
What I find particularly interesting is how Alex and Priya's approach goes beyond just teaching test-taking strategies.
Right.
They're empowering learners to become more effective communicators in all aspects of their lives.
I completely agree. They're not just focusing on passing a test. They're equipping learners with the skills and confidence to express themselves effectively in any situation.
Yeah.
It's about fostering a genuine love for language and its power to connect and inspire.
And that's a beautiful takeaway.
It is.
It's not just about achieving a score. It's about unlocking the potential of language to communicate, connect, and create meaningful interactions.
That's right. It is.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, exploring everything from IELTS swimming questions to broader communication tips.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious, what stands out to you as a particularly valuable takeaway from this exploration?
For me, it's the emphasis on authenticity and personal connection.
Okay.
I noticed how both Alex and Priya consistently encourage test takers to incorporate personal anecdotes, share their genuine interests, and connect with the questions on a deeper level. It's like they're saying, don't just give a textbook answer, bring your own unique perspective to the conversation.
That's a brilliant observation. It's not about trying to sound like someone else or regurgitating memorized responses.
Right.
It's about using language to express your individual thoughts, feelings, and experiences.
Yeah,
And that's what makes communication truly engaging and memorable.
for sure.
It's about connecting with the listener on a human level.
Exactly. And this principle extends far beyond the IELTS exam.
Yeah.
Think about any successful communicator, whether it's a public speaker, a writer, or even a friend sharing a story. What makes them captivating is their ability to connect with their audience authentically.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a little challenge.
Okay.
Think back to those IELTS swimming questions we discussed.
Okay.
How would you answer them? Would you share a childhood memory? Compare your swimming habits in different seasons.
Yeah.
Or perhaps express your desire to try a new water sport.
Interesting.
Take a moment to reflect on your own experiences and how you'd express them using the techniques we've uncovered.
It's a great exercise to put these tips into practice.
Absolutely.
Remember to focus on providing full answers,
Okay.
using a variety of tenses, speaking naturally,
Yes.
and incorporating specific vocabulary,
Right.
and most importantly, Let your personality shine through.
Well said. We've explored the unexpected connection between swimming and language tests,
Yeah.
uncovered valuable communication tips,
Uh-huh.
and hopefully inspired you to dive into your own communication journey.
I hope so.
Whether you're preparing for the IELTS or simply looking to become a more confident and engaging communicator, remember that language is a powerful tool.
It is.
Embrace it,
Yes.
experiment with it,
For sure.
and have fun with it.
That's the most important part.
Well, that's a wrap on our swimming adventure.
I had fun.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep into the world of knowledge.
Sounds good. It is a powerful tool.
So we've been talking about swimming and the IELTS,
Right.
and I think it's been pretty interesting.
Uh-huh.
I'm curious, what stands out to you as a particularly valuable takeaway from this whole exploration?
Well, I think the thing that really stuck with me is this
Yeah.
emphasis on authenticity and personal connection.
Okay.
I mean, you really see it, both Alex and Priya.
Hmm.
They always encourage test takers, to bring in their own experiences,
Yeah.
to share personal anecdotes,
Right.
to connect with the questions on a deeper level.
Hmm.
Like, they don't want you to just give some, textbook answer.
Yeah.
It's all about bringing your own unique perspective to the conversation.
That's a brilliant observation.
Oh, thanks.
It's not about trying to sound like someone else or regurgitating memorized responses.
Right, exactly.
It's about using language to express your own individual thoughts and feelings and experiences.
Yeah.
And that's what makes communication truly engaging and memorable.
Absolutely. I mean, you think about it.
Yeah.
It's not just IELTS, right?
No.
This principle, it applies to any kind of communication.
Yeah.
Any successful communicator you can think of.
Mm-hmm.
Public speaker, a writer, even a friend sharing a story, right?
Yeah.
What makes them captivating is that ability to connect authentically with their audience.
I couldn't agree more.
That's powerful.
So before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a little challenge.
Okay, I like it.
Think back to those IELTS swimming questions that we've been talking about.
Okay,
How would you answer them?
that's a good one.
Would you share a childhood memory?
Mm.
Would you compare your swimming habits in different seasons?
Mm.
Or would you talk about maybe wanting to try a new water sport?
Yeah.
So think about it. Think about your own experiences and how you would express them using the techniques we've been talking about.
It's a great exercise.
Absolutely.
Put these tips into practice.
Yeah.
Focus on giving full answers. Use those different tenses. Speak naturally and,
Mm-hmm.
use those specific vivid words.
Yeah.
But most importantly, let your personality shine through.
Well said.
Thanks.
So we've explored this kind of unexpected connection between swimming and language tests.
Right.
We've uncovered some valuable communication tips
Wow.
and hopefully inspired you to dive into your own communication journey.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether you're preparing for the IELTS or just looking to become a more confident and engaging communicator, remember, language is a powerful tool.
It really is.
Embrace it, experiment with it, and most of all, have fun with it.
Have fun.
Well, that's a wrap on our swimming adventure.
That was fun.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep into the world of knowledge.
Awesome.